CNBC TV 18 Weekender.
Welcome back. We're at the Whitefield Arms, a British pub at Bengaluru, and we continue our conversation with Siddharth Yog, the founder of Xander Group. Siddharth, your career spanned multiple organizations across multiple countries. Then you decided to quit, join college, come back, start your own firm at a very young age. Were you apprehensive at the start, or was this always your true calling, private equity investments in real estate?
So, firstly, I don't think I've worked in multiple organizations. I think I've worked in probably all of two, with brief stints at two others. But I was at CBRE for, I think, almost 9 years. In India, of course, helping them set up the business here. Yeah. But then moved in 1999, I think, to Singapore and then to Hong Kong, helping set up a strategy consulting practice for them for Asia Pacific, which I did for 3.5 years. And then I had brief stints which were more like summer training while I was at business school. I call it summer training, but it's really an internship, or trying to experiment with things that you might want to do and don't necessarily want to do full time. Okay. But ended up obviously back in the strategy consulting field, and then decided that that wasn't really for me because I loved real estate too much and all its associated businesses. And I think why I love real estate so much is because it brings people together, right? The buildings that shape us, we shape them first and then they end up shaping us. And that's always been a passion. And so I think this was my calling. I mean, whether at CBRE I was on the advisory part of the real estate business, and now I'm on the principal investing part. You
said you live out of suitcases earlier when we were talking. You work.
I said I live out of a trolley and a haversack, not even a suitcase.
You spend part of your 4 months actually teaching. You spend part of it in Asia. You live in Boston, but you obviously have strong Indian connects. You grew up in Lucknow. You went to college in Delhi. Have you ever thought of moving back here?
So I am back. I mean, so the physicality of one's existence is kind of, driven by the opportunities, the interests, the passions, the ideas, the people that you work with, interact with, want to spend time with, and the things you want to spend time on. India, to me, is a civilizational idea. It's not a physical idea, right? It is, of course, a physical idea as well. But the civilizational idea of India I carry in my head. I'm a very proud Indian, and I always will be. But I think I'm also straddling multiple continents and multiple geographies in doing the things I want to do. So I want to teach. I teach at Harvard Business School. I'm involved in an educational venture in Delhi at the Ashoka University. I serve on the board of the American Repertoire Theatre in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I couldn't do that sitting in one place. So the trade-off that you make, if it is a trade-off, I don't think of it as such, is that you have to travel, because, as I said, you have to show up, you have to be there.
So while you're straddling across the world, this trade-off that you're making, constantly living out of a suitcase, is that one of the reasons why you remain an eligible bachelor?
I guess until I find somebody who is willing to kind of embark on this journey together with me, of being in a different city every week, perhaps.
Back to your college life at Harvard, you've created history. You're the first Indian to make it to the president of Harvard Business School. How did that come about? How did you sell yourself to the students there? How did it happen?
So I hope they elected me not because I was Indian, but because they thought I was a good candidate and I would do what the manifesto that we developed and put forth said. The one thing that I am fond of, perhaps a little too much, is challenging status quo.
Okay.
And I think that's just, whether it's a school or college, or it's reflective in what our business is today, I think that's all that we do. We challenge status quo, hopefully to improve things, to make them better.
So you were surprised when you made the president of Harvard Business School?
Oh, I was surprised. I was like, who would elect me? Why?
Okay, you've been the president at Harvard Business School. You said you were the Students' Union at the Sri Ram College of Commerce. Politics clearly has been a big part of your life. I mean, so far you said 4 generations of your family have been in the public space. You've never considered this as an alternative career, perhaps something that you might look at after?
Look, these are all who knows, right? How life evolves. But I think right now I'm focused on my teaching, doing what I do at Xander, doing what we are doing at Virtuous Retail, creating these communities, creating these spaces, urban regeneration, which is a very large part of what you hope to be able to do if you were in politics. So if I'm able to, in my own little way, be able to do it without having the framework of politics and being able to do it successfully with the set of investors we have, with the partners we have in India, right? Why aspire to things that I know nothing about? This is what I know. This is what I'm happy doing.
Okay, you'll probably roll your eyes when I ask you this question because it's been asked so many times. But you know, the $11 million donation with the one, on the 11th day of the month at in 2011. Is this just a coincidence, or are you a spiritual person? Are you a superstitious person? What was the reason that you chose this 11-11-11 figure?
It's the Indian in me coming out. I think some part of it is just become overlaid by people who wanted to create a story, I guess. The one after the 11 is a very Indian tradition. It's considered good luck.
But 11th November 2011 at 11:11 a.m. if I'm not wrong.
As I said, that is, maybe with 11 seconds of, it's not something that I kind of planned or did, or, I don't know how that story became what it became. I think the simple thing that we did was, the thought process behind that was to be able to, in the tradition of, in the Indian tradition of giving back, I think I wanted to show my gratefulness to the institution that enabled me to do things that I didn't think were going to be possible. And so the one is a token, an auspicious token. It's supposed to be a token for good luck. It's actually the tradition of the one, which we don't know in India, perhaps, or have forgotten, is really that a gift made with a one at the end signifies another cycle of good luck and additional gifts that might accrue to the person receiving that gift.
Yeah, I want to move away from spirituality. Tell me more about who Siddharth Yog is at work. In the words of one of your former colleagues, I'm guessing you know who I'll be talking about. He said, you're as bright as you're aggressive, so you may have rubbed off people the wrong way while you're working, but not one person could fault you with your work. So is it this aggression that has really led to the success?
We've all been 25 years old, right? I think the colleague you're talking about saw me when I was 22 or 23 or whatever it was. I think we all mellow with experience. I hope I have as well. Look, as I mentioned again, I try and follow 2 or 3 principles. One is I do want to challenge status quo, and that oftentimes is seen as being difficult. It's not about being difficult. It is, I think, about saying that just because this was acceptable yesterday, does it necessarily mean? And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't, right? And I don't think that that in itself is anything that one should be afraid of doing. A. B. There's an old saying, perfection is our goal, excellence will be tolerated. So I do think that adage is something that I care deeply about.
Okay.
I don't believe in the 80%.
On that note, we'll take a quick break, but stay tuned, we'll be right back. If you are not a private equity player, what would you be? What is an alternative career you ever thought of? Anything ridiculous, we all harbor strange dreams when we're younger.
A TV talk show host.
Wow, you won my job.
There you go.
CNBC TV 18 Weekender.